Shotgun formation, Vidal in the backfield. All right, let's go. Snap it. Eyes down the field. Herbert, good clean pocket for once, right? Herbert was sacked 6 times. This is what happens when you give Justin Herbert time to throw. Look at the offensive line holding up. I mean, sure, you got someone getting home right here, but it is plenty of time. Herbert, you can see he's squared up in the pocket. He's able to step up into this throw, and look at the accuracy. Looks like an easy throw, but it's far from it. I mean, you've got to get this over the outstretched arm of a leaping defender into that back corner of the end zone. This wasn't even the best throw Herbert had on the day. I like this play as well. Let's get a receiver, of course, on a sort of a fake end around, which moves the defense over. You can see like Darius Davis right there. They fake that, and the defense kind of collapses on the edge, and then now it sets up an opportunity for Herbert to be able to run this in. You got 2 defenders focused on right here, and one's turned, and it just creates an angle for Herbert to come up and to score as he slides in. This is why you want to make defenses think down on the goal line. Everyone's like, oh, let's play power football. I mean, I get that. There's a time and a place, but right now, no. Let's just be creative. Let's fake this end around to Darius Davis, and then let's get 30 on the move here. You got 28 turned around. Herbert realizes that there's no one open, and he's just going to run this in. Herbert's like 6'6", so he's a weapon in his own right down there. And then he's going to basically call game to this point. The Titans have 1 timeout, so they really kind of need to stop here. I mean, it's not game is far from over because of the 2-minute warning, and they still have a timeout. But Herbert does a good job of staying in bounds, getting the first down, and he led the team in rushing today, guys. Justin Herbert led us in rushing today, and this is exactly why. He's just putting his body on the line. It's a really good run right there, too. And you can see it's just a play-action bootleg. The defense is expecting a run up the middle to kill the clock, which is why you see Herbert have a huge lane, and he has the athleticism. But he picks this up, man. It's a long 7 yards. It's a lot longer than it looks because you can see like he has to run all the way here to get to the line of scrimmage, and then he's at the line of scrimmage. That's why this looks like a 15-yard gain. All right, guys. Now this is where you kind of want to sell that power type of football. So all right, Trey Harris is out wide. Vidal. They've got fullback right here, and Matlock who's going to catch this. They've got Gadsden. See, this is a big formation. You've only got 1 receiver on the field. And then you sell that play action. You've got Matlock out there in the flat. And Herbert understands that, hey, look, he's got him matched up on a linebacker. Good hands, catches it, and then fights up and dives for that touchdown. Good play call, man. Good play call. And look at Herbert on this play going through his progressions. You can see it looks like he's going to throw it right here into the flat, which he honestly probably could have, but he doesn't throw it. I'm guessing the receiver he's not looking. Yeah. I was like, why would you not throw that? He's not looking, not expecting the ball. I don't know why you wouldn't be expecting it. So then Herbert has to basically forget about that, and then he's moving to his right, and then he's going to stop. And he could have really stepped up in the pocket. Like you see right here, like he could have stepped up here, but he's got a man. Why would he do that? Because he got Keenan down for the first down, man. I wish I could show the whole clip. Allen would make a man miss right here and get up the field a little bit. But see, this is what happens when you give Charger receivers time to develop routes, is you're going to get a massive gain. They only need 4 yards, but why get 4 yards when you can get way more than that? This is a big-time gain on 3rd down. So the Los Angeles Chargers certainly had an interesting game today. They went to Tennessee to take on the 1-7 Titans at the time, and it was an absolute thriller. I mean, Herbert threw a pick 6 early on in this game. There was a punt return for a touchdown, and the Chargers still won. Herbert was under pressure this entire game. He was getting hit. Entering week 9, he was pressured 94 times, the most in football. 70 quarterback hits, the most in football. And 22 sacks is tied for 4th. All of those are gonna go up after this game, but they still found a way to get it done. And it's honestly pretty remarkable how the Chargers are 6-3. I get they started off 3-0, but things could have definitely gotten ugly. You go back to that Dolphins game. If it hadn't been for Herbert miraculously evading what should have been a sack by Jalen Phillips, we're looking at 3 straight L's after 3 straight wins. So that happened, and then the Colts game obviously was a disaster. But then a huge win over the Vikings, and then just scraping by in this one. A win's a win at the end of the day. The Chargers are still well within reach, of course, of the AFC West division, as the Broncos do have a game on them. They have the tiebreaker. These 2 teams will meet up a little later on in the season, the last week in 18. But this game, it just simply came down to the defense played awesome because you got to keep in mind here, special teams and the offense gave up 14 of the 20 points that the Titans scored. The defense couldn't have played much better. But Herbert, when it was said and done, made plays. That throw to Quentin Johnston was awesome. The scramble, multiple big scrambles, of course, sliding in for the tutty. Herbert's done everything he can this season to help this team win. And what it really will come down to is just the overall health and if guys can step up and make plays. When you look at the offensive line, Joe Alt got injured in this game. I mean, this is a line that's already missing Rashawn Slater, in my opinion, the best left tackle in football. Mekhi Becton just continues to be in and out of the lineup. I mean, they just need to get him out there. And, Austin Dekel you have first stringer, second stringer is getting hurt, and you're just down to like Bobby Hart. Like the average Charger fan doesn't even know who that is. Trey Pipkins the third as well. He's dealt with injuries this season. So there's just no consistency on the offensive line. And I was very nervous about this game because if you're on the road against a struggling team and you throw a pick six, all of a sudden it gets the crowd into it and they're going to start to compete. And you have to give credit to the Titans for playing hard. The Titans just haven't been very good this season. They haven't competed, and they really went after the Chargers in this one. And it kind of makes sense. They had the momentum and they tried to capitalize on it and they fell short. Titans had a couple of really questionable play calls. They were lining up the running back under center and not necessarily a gadget type of play, but it was like design runs. It just made no sense. I mean, you just have to play power football to that point, and you're just doing too much. And the Chargers made them pay, whether it would be a sack or whether it just be a tackle for a loss. And instead of picking up a third and short, well, now you're punting, you're kicking a field goal, and that's all the Chargers really needed because when they got the ball, they did it just enough too. A lot of these drives stalled out because of a sack. How many times was Herbert actually sacked in this game is kind of my question. It wasn't pretty. I wish like ESPN tracked hits on this. It obviously isn't going to do that, or like pressures and things like that. Herbert was sacked 6 times, and he still had a rating over 100, 101.2, 250 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, did have that pick six, and he adds in 57 rushing yards. That's another thing as well, is Herbert led the team in rushing, and he threw for 250. So you're asking him to do too much. Jarrett Patterson goes 9 for 44. Kamani Vidal, of course, 12 for 30, which is horrible efficiency, 2.5. It was definitely a day to forget for this Charger offense. Gadsden led all skill position players with 68 receiving yards. He continues to emerge as one of the best sleeper picks in all of the draft, of course, out of Syracuse in day 3. Lab McConkey, 4 for 56, to have that 21-yard catch, of course, working across the middle of the field towards that left side. Quentin Johnston had the touchdown catch. He also had a comeback catch where I don't know how he was able to track that. It was awesome to be able to stay in bounds. Keenan Allen had a couple of catches. See, the issue right now is the offensive line's so bad and these routes aren't able to develop. That's been a major, major issue for the Chargers. They don't have time to let these guys get open to get them the football because the big beginning of the season, even without Slater, these routes were developing, and that's why you saw Keenan Allen look awesome, and that's why you saw, of course, Quentin Johnston look awesome. But that hasn't happened because Herbert doesn't have any time to throw. And then when you can't run the ball, all of a sudden you're in obvious passing situations, even though it's not like the Chargers were playing catch up or anything like that. I mean, technically they were with the pick six, but it was well within reach to be able to run the ball. But you're not helping. If you have a bad offensive line and then you're not running the ball and you can't run the ball, it makes the offensive line even worse because the easiest way to help a battle line is to run. Because then you don't know if they're running or passing and only helps you out. But it was pretty obvious that the Chargers were going to be able to, or were going to pass the ball. And that definitely led to a lot of issues on the day. But this wasn't one of those games where I looked at it and I said, oh, here we go. The Chargers against a 1-7 Titans team, barely getting by. It was more so of just, hey, you got to fight and scrap and just find a way to get out of this place with a win and then get to the next week. And for the Chargers, they more than anyone, they just need to get through a game healthy, and they just can't continue to not be able to do it. We're talking about Joe Wall, who already had been injured this season. Now he's injured again. It's just so frustrating. And next week to me is going to be the biggest challenge yet for the Chargers because they're going to be taking on a Pittsburgh team on Sunday Night Football on NBC. A team that just absolutely destroyed the Colts. I know you guys are going to look at the score and be like, "Oh, it was 27-20." I mean, that's not no, trust me, from somebody who watched that game, it was a absolute domination. And the reason it was is because the Steelers line and their edges, man, they applied a lot of pressure. The Colts have an elite offensive line and they had no answer for the Steelers rush. Imagine the Chargers offensive line. So, it's going to be absolutely critical that the Chargers get as healthy as possible leading up into this game and get extra rest and they be prepared because Herbert did enough today to get this win, but that's not going to be the same against the Steelers unless he can kind of get some help here. And you definitely cannot be throwing pick sixes and you definitely cannot be giving up a return on special teams for a touchdown. I mean, that's just too much to overcome against these better teams. And yeah, expect the Steelers to come ready to play, but also for the Chargers as well. It's a week to week league. You can score 37 one game and win by 27, and the next week you can barely beat the worst team in football, man. I mean, it just depends on matchups and certain things, but definitely getting up to faster starts is going to be something to keep an eye on for the Chargers because I mean, you fall in a hole where you give up 14 points in that first quarter. None of them were even given up by the defense, which makes it even crazier. So you just don't want to see that happen. You want to see the Chargers play at their own pace and get into those play actions. And that's when Herbert's at his best and helps the line. And it just makes you way more balanced. This has been a problem in the Herbert era is that they haven't been able to consistently run the football and they haven't had any protection for him. And it's just superhero mode to that point, and Herbert being asked to throw for a bunch of yards.